Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Milford High School as Milford TV is once again happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call as we enter into week 9 of this high school football season. The Milford Scarlet Hawks back at home as they get set to welcome in the Holliston Panthers of the Tri-Valley League. And of course, this is a non-playoff matchup for you this week. Both of these teams made it into their respective playoff brackets a week ago, but in the quarterfinal round, both of these teams going down. For Milford, they had to travel roughly 90 minutes out to Duxbury to take on the number 2 seeded Dragons. Milford entering into the Division III South bracket as the number 7 seed. And so what looked to be potentially a lopsided matchup in Duxbury's favor turned out to be anything but that. Milford pushing Duxbury to the max last week. A couple of questionable calls going against the Scarlet Hawks in the first half in that game, and ultimately Milford was able to cut it to just a 2-point game late in the fourth quarter, but fell by that 2-point margin. A 9-7 loss for Milford last week against Duxbury. They had a chance twice to possess the football within the final 2 minutes of the game, but could not get themselves into field goal range. So Milford, again, pushing Duxbury to the max, but falling last week, getting eliminated from the playoffs. And on the other side of the field, Holliston also making a quick exit from the playoffs this season, which is certainly something very unusual for head coach Todd Kiley and his team. This is a perennial playoff powerhouse in Holliston. Winners of back-to-back Super Bowl championships in 2014 and 2015. They were a sectional finalist a year ago, but a bit of a turnover on the roster this year, and the result, an early exit from the playoffs, much earlier than these Holliston fans are accustomed to. So they will be closing out their year in a non-playoff schedule, but this is certainly a very intriguing matchup here this week. Two good rivals on the field here. These were two teams that matched up in early season matchups in back-to-back years not too long ago. And we've seen some very hard-fought battles between these two opponents on the field, both here in Milford and also in Holliston. So a bit of a rivalry here about to be renewed. And now the coin toss taking place on the field right now, and we will see now the results. And Holliston will receive to open up. It appeared that Holliston won that coin toss, elected to receive. So Holliston's offense will come out on the field first as the teams get pumped up now for the start of this Week 9 game. Again, not in the playoffs, but that does not diminish the intensity for these two teams. We certainly know Milford intends to finish out this season strong, and Holliston, a lot of pride on that side of the field. You can expect the exact same thing out of the Panthers in this game tonight. It is the Milford Scarlet Hawks of the Hockomock League taking on the Holliston Panthers of the Tri-Valley League, and we will have the opening kickoff when we come back next here on this coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. And quickly we welcome you right back inside the Milford High School football field. Time to get this Week 9 matchup underway. As we saw just prior to that break, Holliston winning the coin toss, and they will receive the opening kick, so Sean Lehane will line up here. The Scarlet Hawks coming into this matchup at 3-5 overall on the season. Holliston coming in at 3-4. And Holliston actually on a 3-game losing streak as they come in to this game here this week. Milford has lost their last 2 straight. Their final regular season game before the playoffs were determined against Stoughton, and then that very difficult 9-7 loss last week against Duxbury. The defense has been phenomenal for Milford over these last 2 weeks, facing 2 very difficult opponents. They will have their hands full again here this week with the high-flying Holliston offense as Lehane lines up for the kick, and the ball immediately blows off the tee. And so they will require a holder, and that sets the tone for the night. The wind should be a factor throughout this night, so we'll see how the teams adjust. It is a short kick for Lehane. It takes a bounce at the 20, scooped up there by Holliston, able to avoid 1 tackle, and now getting across the 35-yard line before finally brought down from behind. That was slow developing on that kick. By the time the ball took a big bounce at the 20-yard line, it looked like Milford was going to make a quick tackle, but Holliston was able to advance the football all the way out to the 37-yard line, and that is where the Panthers offense will get this ball game started. Ryan Benko, the senior quarterback, under center for the Panthers. And the first play from scrimmage is on the ground, up the middle, out to the 40-yard line. Milford makes a quick tackle. Two Super Bowl wins for the Panthers in 2014 and 2015, a deep playoff run last year. And now Benko again will hand it off. The give goes to number 27, Tristan Benson. And it will set up 3rd down and a yard. Close to midfield, and Holliston goes no huddle, quickly back to the line. And the handoff again, met quickly by Milford and then wrestled down in the backfield. Looked like it might have been Joey Everett in on the tackle. And so that will set up 4th down and 2, so a loss of 1 on that play for Holliston. Milford doing a good job blowing up that running play and now setting up an interesting decision here early on for head coach Todd Kiley. Milford was burned by a fake punt last week against Duxbury that set up an eventual touchdown for the Dragons. Holliston electing to go for it here on 4th down, and Milford was ready. And a quick turnover on downs, the carry for Dylan Ibbotson. Going absolutely nowhere, so the run defense stellar for Milford on the opening drive, and the result, a Holliston turnover on downs. And so Milford will have a chance to possess the football for the first time inside Panthers territory. Starting field position at the 43-yard line as the war package comes out onto the field. The snap goes to Ryan O'Toole, who squeezes his way through a hole and plows his way forward to the 35-yard line before he's finally wrestled down. You have to imagine that Ryan O'Toole will be playing with a chip on his shoulder this week. O'Toole broke off a kickoff return for a touchdown last week against Duxbury that was called back due to a very questionable holding penalty that have the coaching staff really scratching their heads even after they watched the footage the following day. Another running play here for Milford as they're able to get down to the 20. Talking to Coach Vizakis the day after that loss to Duxbury last week, he was not too pleased with the calls that went against his team, particularly in the first half. And in a game that ended in a 9-7 final, every play in that game proved to be crucial. So Milford with something to prove here. And looking good on their opening drive as they have now 2nd down and 5 yards to go. The running play goes to the near side for Will Pointer. A stiff arm gets him down close to the 10. Looks like forced out at the 12. And they will move the chains, so a 1st down carry for the captain, Will Pointer. Both Pointer and O'Toole, senior captains on this team, making their presence felt early. And with the clock just under 8 minutes to play in the first quarter, Milford potentially on the verge of a score on their first drive of the game. Points have been at a premium for Milford in these last 2 weeks. You go back to the loss against Stoughton here in Milford 2 weeks ago. It was just a field goal in that game for the Hawks. And last week, just the single touchdown. So 10 points in their last 2 games combined. Here it's O'Toole to the far side towards the end zone, and he is in for the touchdown. An 11-yard rushing touchdown for Ryan O'Toole, and just like that, Milford is on the scoreboard. Able to just sneak inside the pylon before getting forced out of bounds. And so O'Toole gives Milford an early lead, with Lehane now heading out for the point after. And no good on the kick for Sean Lehane. So again, that wind is going to be difficult for these kickers here tonight. So the Point after attempt is no good. That makes our score 6-0 as Milford marches right down the field off the turnover on downs, and they take an early 6-0 lead on Holliston with 7 minutes and 48 seconds still to go here in this first quarter. And as you can see, just a picture-perfect night for football here in Milford. Full moon overhead, some wind, but otherwise comfortable temperatures. It was still hovering around 70 degrees right at sunset time earlier this evening. Temperatures still, no doubt, in the low 60s. As once again, Lehane will require the holder as he is about to kick away once again to the Panthers. A little bit more on this kick for Lehane. He's able to get it in the air all the way to the 5-yard line, but racing upfield now is Holliston. Looked like they ran into their own man there as they crossed the 30-yard line, but still decent starting field position for the Panthers as the return was made by number 8, Brad Seymour. So he's able to set up shop for the Panthers at their own 36-yard line. Panthers unable to secure a first down on their opening drive. Now the toss back on first down, carried by Jake Armstrong, another senior on this roster. Setting up 2nd down and 6 after that 4-yard carry, and you can see the hurry-up offense once again for the Panthers. As once again it's Armstrong on the carry. He is met. So similar offensive schemes displayed for both of these teams so far. Milford yielding much better results on their drive. Holliston now at 3rd down and 6 after they were stuffed on that play. They'll spread things out a little bit more on 3rd down. Ryan Benko now from the shotgun, a running back to his left. He fakes the handoff, looking to throw, rushed as the pocket collapses. Benko able to get out to the far sideline, and he's finally forced out just past the 40-yard line. That play imploded in a hurry as Milford got great penetration into the backfield. But Benko was able to escape to gain a few yards. And meanwhile, at the end of the play, a personal foul going against Milford. So an undisciplined play there for the Scarlet Hawks is going to cost them 15 yards and allow this drive to continue for Holliston. Milford with an excellent defensive play. And the defense has really been shining bright over these last few weeks. They've looked very solid here on these first 2 drives for the Panthers. But a personal foul as Benko headed towards the far sidelines, and now that will allow the Panthers to take over at 1st and 10 from the Milford 45. So inside Milford territory now. Man in motion for Holliston as they fake the handoff again. Milford gets into the backfield quickly. Benko able to release the throw, and in and out of the hands of Kevin Quinn. Holliston has been living dangerously on this current drive. Once again, Benko was rushed in the pocket. He was able to send a throw deep down the field off his back foot. That throw just wobbling there, but in the end he had a man wide open in Kevin Quinn, who allowed the ball to slip right through his hands. And so now 2nd down and 10. Milford bringing the pressure. That was exactly what they did in Duxbury last week. Made life uncomfortable for the Dragons quarterback, John Roberts, as once again they bring the house, forcing a quick throw, but the dump-off pass is completed. Complete to number 32, Dylan Ibbotson, and another first down here for the Panthers. So that penalty allowing the drive to continue for the Panthers, and now making their way deeper inside Scarlet Hawks territory down to the 35. Decent crop of traveling fans making the short drive from Holliston here to Milford over on the opposite side of the field. Benko again from the shotgun as they hand it off, and a good head of steam ahead for Tristan Benson. And yet another first down, so Milford really doing Holliston a favor with that personal foul penalty. You can see all of a sudden now this offense is looking a lot more comfortable out on the field over these last few plays, back-to-back first down plays. And now 1st and 10 from the 25 as the handoff once again goes to Benson, but this time he is met immediately. Looks like perhaps a loss of a yard on the play, indeed. Pushed back to the 25. Clock continues to roll now, down to 4.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. A 6-0 lead for Milford, but Holliston now moving the football. Benko awaits the snap, fakes the handoff, rolls to his right. Milford in pursuit. Now the throw towards the end zone is over the head of Jake Armstrong, incomplete.
Pass by Benko falls incomplete in the end zone. Pass was intended for 5, Jake Armstrong.
So 3rd down and 11 coming up as the clock is stopped at 4:16. The wind continuing to howl. The American flag off in the distance behind the tennis courts, fully extended. See it whipping around the field. Panthers back to the line. And now flags fly in as the pass is incomplete, intended once again for Armstrong. We await the penalty. It will be a false start called against the Panthers. So does Milford accept the penalty, or instead do they place the Panthers in a 4th down and 11? Yeah, you can see now head coach Anthony Vazakis with his arms in a motion to decline the penalty. So there it is. They will instead accept the play that took place on the field, the incomplete pass. So now 4th down and 11, and once again Coach Kiley with a decision to make on 4th down, opting to go for it at midfield on the Panthers' last drive, and the results were not good for Holliston. Of course, field goals will be anything but automatic in this game tonight with the way the wind is blowing. And so as Holliston lines up with their offense on the field, we see a timeout taken. And so we will take the timeout as well. 4 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the first quarter. Milford with a 6-0 lead on Holliston. It will be 4th down and 11 for the Panthers when we come back next here on Milford TV. Big play coming up on 4th down, 4th and 11 for Holliston from the Milford 25-yard line. They will go with an empty backfield. Benko from the shotgun takes the snap, rolls out, has time to throw, has his man, and it's complete to Armstrong. Somehow manages to stay in bounds and now ripped down. Looked like that might have been Matt Curran who came in on the tackle to save the touchdown. And so now it is 1st down and goal for the Panthers. So this time it works out for Holliston on 4th down. First and goal from the 7. And now we see the war package out of the Panthers on 1st and goal. The ball ends up once again in the hands of Armstrong. Jake Armstrong showing off his skill set in both the passing game and the running game, but that time he was stopped immediately by the Scarlet Hawks. Appears to be a loss of a yard on the play for Holliston, setting up 2nd down and goal from the 8.
Loss of 1 on the play. 2nd down and goal from the 8.
Traveling under 3 minutes to play on this next offensive snap for Holliston. Plenty of time to throw for Benko, but he airmails the pass to the back of the end zone. Looking for Kevin Quinn that time. And so it will now be 3rd down and goal.
Brings up 3rd down goal for the Panthers from the Scarlet Hawk 8-yard line.
Milford playing at home once again here this week. We do not know Milford's opponent for next week. That will likely be scheduled around Monday of next week. Milford's won just 1 game here at home so far this season. That was that thrilling victory against Foxborough. That's now on 3rd and goal. Quarterback rolling out, and this throw is over the head of Jake Armstrong. As he was being quickly pursued from behind, he felt the pressure coming, released the throw off balance, and the result, another incompletion. And now the 3rd 4th down situation of this first quarter coming up for the Panthers. And once again, you see the offense looking toward the sideline to get the play call. This Milford crowd wanting to see their defense make a stand here and deny Holliston the points. Again, they spread it out wide on 4th down. Benko will roll to his left this time, throws sidearm, and the pass is intercepted. And still on their feet, the Scarlet Hawks able to return the football out to the 29-yard line as Caden Kelly gets the interception. And the Milford defense able to get it done. And Holliston stays off the scoreboard. Rolling the dice on 4th down yet again, and this time you could see the awkward arm angle for Ryan Benko as he released that throw. And right into the arms of Caden Kelly, who came ever so close to a key interception in the game last week against Duxbury that would have likely resulted in a pick 6, but the ball just slipped through Kelly's hands. This time he was able to hang on. So it remains a 6-0 Scarlet Hawks lead with 2 minutes and 38 seconds to go in the first quarter, as once again Ryan Pearl and the War Package come out on the field. And Will Pointer with the carry, able to dodge 1 tackle, and still on his feet, still in bounds as Holliston finally swarms and takes the senior down at about the 43-yard line. Will Pointer has done some impressive running so far this season, leads the team in rushing touchdowns. He has been very difficult to bring down to the turf. Pointer and O'Toole, a couple of gritty, tough, elusive running backs that have had a lot of success. A tall task taking the place of Blake Hill in this offense this season, but those two have done the job as now O'Toole gets the carry. He's able to spin his way to the 45-yard line for a gain of a couple. And you know, these seniors will continue to play with a lot of pride here in these final games. It's a difficult situation. We know ever since the MIAA changed to this current playoff format that for the teams that either don't make the playoffs or eventually get eliminated from the playoffs, these non-playoff games to close out the season are a little bit of a strange situation, a bit of a strange feeling coming into these games, but once it starts, you know these teams want to win, want to have success to close out their year. As Milford forces their way close to midfield. Still well shy of the first down, so a 3rd down coming up for the Hawks as we tick down to the final 60 seconds of this first quarter. The ball spotted on the Milford 47 as Pearl gets the play call from head coach Anthony Vizakis. Relays it to the huddle. give goes to Pointer. Pointer into Panthers territory as he races past the 30-yard line and is eventually muscled out of bounds by Alexander Kelly of Holliston, but not until a huge gain is made by the senior captain, Will Pointer. And the Scarlet Hawks now with first down at the Holliston 25. So right on cue, Pointer able to get it done again. This Holliston defense has had to expend a lot of effort on these first two drives of the night for Milford, as this time it's O'Toole who hesitates as he tries to turn the corner on the far sideline. A flag comes in as O'Toole is eventually forced out of bounds. Did Holliston get a piece of O'Toole's face mask? Instead, it's a holding call against Milford. And so it will be penalty yardage assessed to the Scarlet Hawks. They will now face a first down and 20 with 31 seconds to go in the period. Ryan O'Toole with the touchdown on Milford's first drive of the game. And now the toss back to Tyler Joyce. And Joyce able to spin off a couple of tackles inside the 25-yard line, so able to get back to the original line of scrimmage. A quick 10-yard strike for Tyler Joyce. We have not seen Joyce used much in the running game. In fact, that is the first carry for Joyce that we've seen in any of the home games. Joyce doing the bulk of his work on the defensive side of the football in his senior year, but makes a nice play there on offense to set up second down and 10 for the Scarlet Hawks as the first quarter comes to a close. So we will flip the field and be back for quarter number 2, a 6-0 lead for Milford over Holliston, as you enjoy coverage of Milford High School athletics right here on Milford TV. Welcome back for second quarter coverage. Milford versus Holliston. Milford with the lead. And on first down, here is O'Toole, has plenty of space in front of him on the near sideline. Holliston whiffs on the tackle, and it is a touchdown for the Scarlet Hawks. A 25-yard touchdown for Ryan O'Toole. He scores his second of the game, and Milford now doubles the lead to 12-0 as we will see another PAT coming up for the junior Sean Lahane. Milford nothing but running plays here so far in the first half, and Holliston has not had an answer as O'Toole has found the end zone twice, as this time the extra point sails through the uprights for Lahane. That ups the Milford lead now to 13-0 with 10 minutes and 50 seconds left here in the first half. Coverage of Milford High School football here on Milford TV. Ryan O'Toole had just one rushing touchdown so far on the season coming into tonight. He's now scored 2 in this first half alone, as this kick booms all the way to the end zone from Lahane. Much different wind heading into the south end zone here at Milford High School as Lahane ends up with the touchback. Starting field position at the 20 for Holliston, which will be their worst starting field position so far of the game. They've had field position at the 30-yard line or better on their first 2 drives, but so far tonight for the offense of the Panthers, it has been a turnover on downs and an interception on a 4th down pass play in the red zone. With 10 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the first half, Holliston looking to run on first down. They're able to take it just outside the 20. Gain of 2 yards.
Holliston's carry good for a 2-yard gain. 2nd down, 8.
Once again from the shotgun, it's Ryan Benko. This time looks to throw, and Milford is there for the sack. Chris Rivera with the takedown.
Ryan Benko was sacked on the play.
Chris Rivera, who also had a major defensive play in the game last week in Duxbury, came through with an interception with Duxbury right at the goal line. Of course, just a couple of plays later, Rivera on a running play was unable to get out of his own end zone, resulting in the safety that ended up being the game-winning play for the Dragons. But Rivera with another defensive gem as he gets the sack on the quarterback, Ryan Benko. And now 3rd down and long as Holliston looks to throw, aiming towards the far sideline, and the pass in the general vicinity of Jake Armstrong was incomplete. Ended up in the hands of one of the Holliston coaches, and we should see a punting situation here for Holliston, backed up deep in their own end. Seen Holliston go for it on 3 4th downs so far tonight, but this time you would think they will go through with the punt, although they do have Benko out there. And he will punt it himself. Ball takes a hop right at the Milford 49, will now roll to a stop at the 44. So after a quick 3 and out from the Panthers offense, it's Milford right back to work, looking to build on a 13-0 lead. Holliston ended up matching up in the playoffs last week with a team that Milford knows all too well how difficult their offense can be, the Scituate Sailors, the team that Milford faced in week 1 of this season. It ended up being a 28-14 loss at Scituate for Holliston in the quarterfinal round of the playoffs. Losses to Medfield, Hopkinton, and Scituate in the last 3 weeks for the Panthers. And right now they find themselves in an early hole against Milford with the score 13-0. The clock ticking down towards 8.5 minutes to play as it is 2nd down and 9 for the Scarlet Hawks out of the war package. Here is Will Pointer. Pointer is able to find his way to the far sideline. He's pushed out at the 35 of Holliston. Had just 1 man left to beat, and Holliston able to make the touchdown saving play, forcing Pointer out of bounds. But right now, this game has been all Pointer and O'Toole. This Holliston defense right now back on their heels. They've not been able to make any adjustments so far in this half, as Milford will have 1st and 10 from inside Holliston territory. The pitch back to Tyler Joyce, and Joyce is yanked down. Looks like he was able to get back to about the line of scrimmage. And it looks like a Milford player slow to get up at the end of that play. So we will have an injury timeout here. The clock stopped at 8 minutes and 8 seconds to go. We will pause for the injury timeout here. A 13-0 Milford lead over Holliston here on Milford TV. And we return on at the injury timeout. It was Tyler Joyce who was injured on that last play. He had to be helped off the field by Milford's athletic trainer, Jonathan Raskow, and it appears to be a right knee injury for Joyce. Was not able to put any weight on that right leg as he came off the field, and now quickly Milford back to action. cutting down inside the 20-yard line.
And that play is good for the Scarlet Hawks.
And that was Brendan White getting the carry that time, and the junior able to bring Milford down to the Holliston 18-yard line.
Milford at the Holliston.
As the clock ticks under 7.5 minutes to play, so after the pause in the action, Milford quickly ready to resume as White breaks off a big gain, now on first down. Not much room up the middle that time as Holliston was able to close in. Going right back to Brendan White for a second straight carry.
Brendan White on the carry.
Able to get himself back to the line of scrimmage, so 2nd and 10 for the Hawks. It has been all Ryan Pearl in the war package through this first half, and certainly no reason for Coach Vizakis to change with the success that Milford has had on their first 2 drives, and now here, once again, getting themselves inside the Holliston 20. 2nd down and 10 from the 18. As now the quick handoff goes to Pointer. Milford trying to set the edge. Pointer able to get inside the 15. So it'll be a 3rd down coming up for the Hawks. Gain of 6 on the play for the senior captain, Will Pointer.
3rd down and 4 for Milford from the Holliston 12.
Starting to get into the later stages of this first half. 5 minutes and 39 seconds to go. And on 3rd down, looked like a keeper for Ryan Pearl. Ends up well shy of the first. Just a single yard gain for the junior quarterback. And so now the decision for the Milford coaching staff. As the clock comes down, now under 5 minutes to play. Milford now continuing to talk it over, and Coach Vizakis letting the play clock run down before he takes the timeout. The clock now paused with 4 minutes and 48 seconds to go. And of course, while we have a moment, we want to welcome in all of you who are tuned into us via our live streaming coverage of the game here tonight. Once again, bringing you live streaming coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics via the live stream app. Check us out on milfordtv.net or by downloading live stream on your mobile device. Checking out our Milford TV educational feed, as now Milford sends the field goal unit out on the field. Sean Lehane, the kick away, and kicking it with the wind at his back. No problem for Lehane. And so Milford now is able to up their lead to 16-0, coming away with points on each of their first 3 drives. And so a 16-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. We will be back with more action next here on Milford TV. After a successful 28-yard field goal try for Sean Lehane, he prepares to kick off back to the Panthers, but once again, the football will not cooperate on the tee thanks to a blustery evening here in Milford. Lehane with his 4th successful field goal of this 2017 fall season. Certainly wishes it was his 5th, and he converted his field goal try against Duxbury last week. Likely would have seen a different outcome to that game. Here, a nice return up the middle for Holliston, but eventually met right around the 23-yard line.
Holliston's return to stop at the 23-yard line.
Just about 4.5 minutes left to go in this first half, a first half of play that has been dominated by Milford.
Versus Holliston from their own 23.
So back out onto the field comes Brian Benko and the offense. And they go right back to the ground game on first down. I believe it was Tristan Benson on the carry.
Tristan Benson on the carry from Holliston.
He's able to force his way ahead for a tough yard. Setting up 2nd down and 9.
1 yard gain on the play. 2nd down, 9 from the 24.
This Milford defense looking extremely confident. An empty backfield now for Benko, who runs it himself, slips through the Milford line and now accelerates towards midfield. Brendan White trying to close in. Eventually White able to wrestle the quarterback down, but not before he crosses into Milford territory all the way down to the 35-yard line. A tremendous gain on the ground for the senior quarterback. Holliston looking for a big play to shake themselves
40-yard gain on the play.
Out of what's been a difficult first half to this point. Benko able to provide it.
Holliston from the Milford 36.
3.5 minutes to play. Holliston in business once again with an empty backfield. This time Benko rolls out to his left, then eventually runs with it himself.
Ryan Benko on the keeper.
A much shorter gain that time, but he's able to get Holliston close to the 30.
Brendan White with the tackle.
This is a Holliston offense that's put up some big points at times this season. They scored 41 points in a victory against Westwood earlier this year, 35 points in a win against Norton. Certainly capable of overcoming this early deficit. Right now 2nd down and 6 as the Panthers huddle it up. Milford so far this season enjoying their first victory in week 3 on the road against Canton. Their 2nd win came in week 5 on the road once again against Sharon. They followed that up with a nice home win in week 6 against Foxborough before back-to-back losses against Stoughton and Duxbury on the road. So again, just 1 win here at home this season.
2nd down and 6 for Holliston from the Milford 32-yard line.
1 and 3 here in Milford so far on the season. Yes. Action now resumes. And this is a formation that has yielded success for Holliston on these last 2 plays. And the quick dump-off pass is completed to Brad Seymour.
Pass by Ryan Benko is complete to Brad Seymour.
Milford was able to put some pressure on Benko that time, but he was still able to get the pass away successfully. Setting up 3rd down and short.
Brings up 3rd down and 1.
3rd down and a yard to go as, again, we see the empty backfield. Benko drops back, avoids the rush, now circles his way around towards the far side of the field, has the 1st down, and is finally forced out of play. It looked like Rivera was the one who finally got him out of bounds, but all of a sudden now Ryan Benko taking over on the ground and has proven to be difficult for these Milford defenders to get to the turf. 2.5 minutes to go in the half.
This is in Holliston for the Milford 23.
Panthers offense picking up the pace. Benko hesitates, able to spin off a tackle. Milford able to keep a hold on the jersey and finally bring the quarterback down. The 2nd sack of this first half for Milford, and Lucas Rosa a big part of that play.
Lucas Rosa, on sack for the Hawks.
So all of a sudden now 2nd down and 14 for the Panthers. It will take some time to talk it over after going no huddle for a good chunk of this drive. 16-0 Milford lead. The calendar flipping to November this week, November 3rd here as this game gets underway, but does not feel like the month of November weather-wise. Still unseasonably warm temperatures here in Milford. These fans will certainly take it. A comfortable night to take in a football game despite the stiff winds out there. As the two teams continue to talk it over on the timeout. Still a couple of Hockomock League teams active in the playoffs this week. We will talk about those playoff matchups as the broadcast goes along. In the meantime, about to see a 2nd down and 14 for the Holliston offense. And Benko now hangs in the pocket, releases the throw, and it is intercepted. The 2nd Milford interception of the game. And it's Chappelle Feaster with the pick. Rivera in the first quarter picking off a pass from Benko, and now Chappelle Feaster. Excuse me, Caden Kelly with the interception on that previous drive. Rivera with the pick last week. Chappelle Feaster here getting it done, allowing the offense to come back out onto the field, but a long field here for Milford with 2:01 to play. Backed up inside their own 10. And not much gained there on 1st down. Milford having to play it carefully here. Allowing a safety last week against Duxbury that proved to be the game-deciding play.
No, there's a 2nd down and 10.
2nd down and 10 coming up for the Hawks. Again, it's Pearl back out on to the field to relay the play call. And Pearl looking to throw this time. Joey Everett in the vicinity, got turned around. The pass was a good one from Pearl.
Pass by Ryan Pearl falls incomplete.
The pass incomplete, and a little bit on Everett there as he twisted and turned and couldn't get himself back to the football. And so now a 3rd and 10 coming up for the Hawks. And not taking a whole lot of time off the clock here after the incompletion. The clock stopped at 1:48 to play. Perhaps now just trying to give Sean Lehane a little bit of extra room for a punt. As that play is quickly blown up in the backfield, so it'll be a 4th down play from inside the Milford 5 as the punting unit will come out onto the field. So Holliston able to tighten up with Milford backed up deep in their own end, and now Sean Lehane will hope to get a bit of an assist from the wind here as he will punt out of his own end zone. With 1 minute and 43 seconds left, so there is still time for Holliston here. The first drive for Milford that will not yield any points. As Lehane gets the kick away, and it is bobbled at midfield, and Milford in pursuit. Armstrong able to hang on. Jake Armstrong bobbling the punt right around the 50-yard line, then had to race back for it. Ends up downing it at the 40. So Holliston will have 93 seconds left on the clock as they take over from their own 40-yard line. on 1st and 10, Benko will look to throw. A quick screen pass is completed right at the line of scrimmage, and then good yards after. So it looked to be Kevin Quinn with the reception for the Panthers.
Linebacker's pass is complete to Kevin Quinn. 9-yard gain.
Clock continues to roll with the ball at midfield. Benko now trying the quick hitter to Jake Armstrong, but a little bit too much on the throw. Armstrong couldn't handle it. 2nd and 1. Excuse me, 3rd and 1 now.
Flag on Milford makes it a 1st down for Holliston.
So a penalty there coming in that ultimately gives the 1st down to Holliston, as now Milford again tries to get to the quarterback. He's able to roll out of danger, and the throw ends up going incomplete to the Holliston sidelines. So Milford with their 2nd defensive penalty of the half to give the Panthers a 1st down inside Milford territory. It's now 2nd down and 10 with 1 minute and 1 second to go. Milford trying to not allow any big plays here to keep that 0 on the scoreboard in Holliston's column. Benko with time to throw, looking to the far sideline, and the pass is completed to Armstrong, who will go into the end zone for a touchdown. A 43-yard touchdown reception. So just as we talk about trying to deny the big plays, Holliston comes through with their biggest of the game. A 43-yard touchdown pass from Benko to Armstrong. So it looks like with the wind not in Holliston's favor here on this side of the field, they're going to elect to go for 2. Score right now 16-6 as Benko rolls to his left, has a man wide open, but misses on the throw. And the 2-point conversion is no good as Benko was targeting Quinn. So with 53 seconds left in this 1st half, Holliston now on the scoreboard after the 43-yard passing play. A touchdown from Benko to Armstrong makes it a 16-6 score. So Milford will have a little bit of time left to work with here in the 2nd quarter. They will possess the football first in the 3rd quarter. Holliston now lines up for the kick. Milford now with some room up the middle for Ryan O'Toole. He's able to elude the grasp of Holliston as he dances his way to the 35-yard line. And in this situation, we will see now Coach Vizakis deploy Colby Pyers in the spread offense, trying for a quick move down the field. Timeout now is called. Timeout taken with 44 seconds left in this 2nd quarter. Milford had scored a total of 119 points on the season coming into this game here tonight. They've scored 16 so far in the 1st half. The defense has allowed a total of 154 points on the season. Had been pitching a shutout until Benko was able to hit Armstrong for that long touchdown play. Pyers now ready to go. And hands off now on first down. O'Toole again cuts up the middle, out past the 45-yard line. So they continue to run it even out of the spread package. Milford with some timeouts to use here in these closing seconds, wanting to get back on the scoreboard, staying aggressive with their lead cut down to 10. A pair of touchdowns and a field goal so far in this half for the Scarlet Hawks. Looking for more now with Colby Pyers on the field. He once again has O'Toole in the backfield behind him. And Pyers turns around, hands it off to the senior, who lowers his head, burrows inside Holliston territory down to the 45. As again, Milford calls the timeout, stopping the clock with 29 seconds to go. Milford moving the football well. Just the one pass attempt for Milford so far in this game. That came on their previous drive with Ryan Pearl trying to hit Joey Everett down the near sideline. So far, a couple of running plays with Pyers on the field, getting Milford to the Holliston 45, where they'll have second down and short. Full timeout taken for Milford here with 29 seconds to go. And we'll see what Coach Vazakis has drawn up here. Once again, lining up with Pyers in the shotgun, O'Toole in the backfield. Everett split out wide to the near side, Kelly to the far side as the ball is tossed back to the running back, Ryan O'Toole. And able to get out of bounds. Or was he? No, the clock continues to roll. As Milford takes the timeout yet again. That stops the clock with just 7 seconds to play. Milford a yard shy of the first down, so it's 3rd down and 1, but more importantly, time running out in this first half. So we'll see if Milford takes a shot downfield here with Pyers. Coach Vazakis animated in the huddle as he talks things over with the team.
Third down and 1 for Milford from the Holliston 44.
Return to the field in the same formation we've seen on the previous 2 plays. 3rd down and 1, 7 seconds to go, as this time Pyers drops back, now flushed out of the pocket, will throw on the run down the far side, completed to Chappelle Feaster, who makes a move into the end zone. Touchdown, Scarlet Hawks. So Milford able to answer back with a long passing play of their own. So an exchange of 43-yard touchdowns, one for Holliston and now one as Pyers connects with Feaster. So Pyers on the run, still with the accuracy, and Chappelle Feaster able to do the rest, makes the grab and able to make his way into the end zone as the point after attempt is good for Sean Lehane. And right at the close of play, that will be the final play of this first half. So Milford ends it with a flourish on the 43-yard touchdown reception for Chappelle Feaster, upping the Milford lead to 23-6 over Holliston. What an entertaining first half, and a lot to be happy about if you're a Scarlet Hawks fan, taking a big lead on a very talented team in Holliston. Well, we will step aside now for halftime. You do not want to go anywhere. We will have third quarter action when we come back next here on coverage of Milford High School football on Milford TV. And just like that, set to resume for this third quarter. Teams quickly back out onto the field as Chappelle Feaster has to go all the way to the edge of the end zone to track down that ball as he whiffed on the reception initially. Ends up taking a knee right at the back of the end zone for the touchback, as the Scarlet Hawks will come out on offense to start the third quarter. A very exciting conclusion to the first half, as it turned out. Both offenses putting up points in the closing seconds. A 43-yard touchdown pass for Holliston's Ryan Benko to the wide receiver Jake Armstrong, and then Milford sending Colby Pyers and the spread offense out onto the field. They were able to get inside Holliston territory before Pyers sent a 43-yard touchdown pass to Chappelle Feaster to make the score 23-6, as now Milford will have the ground game going here early. It's Ryan Pearl running it himself, running out of steam, as Holliston will close in for the tackle inside the 20-yard line. The hard takedown by the Holliston quarterback, Ryan Benko, on the defensive side. So quarterback on quarterback crime there at the end of the play, but not before Pearl breaks off a tremendous run. And a first down for the Hawks from the 16-yard line. And so once again, Milford threatening to score. As now the give goes to Ryan O'Toole. He sneaks up the middle and all the way in for the touchdown. A 16-yard rushing touchdown for O'Toole just 2 plays into this second half, and Milford is able to tack on to the lead. The band had barely finished playing for halftime when the two teams returned to the field to start the third quarter, and Milford needing just 45 seconds to notch another touchdown, as now the point after attempt away for Lehane, and it is good. Still 10 minutes and 15 seconds left in this third quarter, and Milford now up to an even 30 points in the game, on top of Holliston 30-6. So Milford now with 6 offensive possessions in the game. They've scored on 5 of them. Now 3 rushing touchdowns to go along with the long passing TD to Feaster and the 28-yard Sean Lehane field goal, and life has been good for the Scarlet Hawks offense tonight. And for Ryan O'Toole, that was his 3rd rushing touchdown of the game. He's rushed it from 25 yards out, 11 yards out, and now 16 yards on that last rushing touchdown. And so Milford now up to an even 30 points. It is the 3rd time this season this offense has gotten up into the 30s. Their high water mark on the year was 35. That came in a 35-0 blowout at Sharon back on October 6th, as Lehane booms this kick out to the 10. Hauled in there by Holliston, and shooting quickly up the field is Brad Seymour. And so we'll see now what Holliston has in store as they send their offense onto the field for the first time in the third quarter. Holliston with better success at the end of the first half, playing almost exclusively with an empty backfield. Benko was able to do a lot of damage in the ground game before eventually unleashing that long touchdown pass to Jake Armstrong. Here, it'll be a pass play for Benko as he has protection to the near side, releases the throw, and the catch is made out of bounds. Seymour makes the catch, but with his foot on that chalk line, so no good. And it'll be 2nd down and 10. For Holliston, so far tonight, the night has gone with a turnover on downs, an interception by Caden Kelly, a 3-and-out, an interception for Chappelle Feaster, and then finally success with the 43-yard touchdown catch for Armstrong on the final offensive possession of the first half for Holliston. Now Benko with a deep drop on 2nd down, and this pass is picked off by Rivera, now circles back towards the middle of the field, accelerates towards the end zone, and he is in for the pick six. Chris Rivera gets in on the defensive action. It's the second straight week with a pick for Rivera. This time goes the distance for the touchdown, and this Scarlet Hawks team is pumped up. They score an offensive touchdown just 45 seconds into the third quarter. And now on just the second play, offensively for Holliston, they're able to pick off the pass, as now the point after attempt for Lehane is blocked. So that will keep the scoreboard as is, 36-6. Milford with a 30-point lead on Holliston. I'm sure there were a lot of ways that people thought this game might go between these two teams here tonight. I don't think many people would have had their sights set on this lopsided a score in Milford's favor, just given the pedigree of success for this Holliston football team and the struggles that Milford has endured on offense in these last 2 weeks. Forced into just a field goal 2 weeks ago here at home against Stoughton in a 14-3 loss. And then last week, they were able to score a touchdown off of a turnover, a Will Pointer rushing touchdown against Duxbury last week, but that was the only points Milford was able to generate, so held into the single digits for 2 straight weeks, but not the case here tonight. 36 points, so a new single season high. Single game high, I should say, for this season for Milford at 36 points. As Lehane sends the low line drive kick out towards the 10. And spinning off of one tackle is Holliston before they're finally brought down at the 27, excuse me, at the 28-yard line. 9 minutes and 29 seconds left. Milford has now intercepted Ryan Benko 3 times in the game. Kelly, Feaster, and now Chris Rivera takes it back for the pick six. Benko looking to throw on first down. Milford brings pressure. And the throw is incomplete. No receivers in the vicinity for Benko, who had to let it fly with Milford closing in. Talking to Coach Anthony Vazakis last weekend, he said he brought pressure on the quarterback in Duxbury on just about every single play. That was their mindset going in. They wanted to make life uncomfortable on the Dragons quarterback. They were able to do that for the majority of the night, and they've clearly had a similar game plan here this evening against Holliston. Holliston will now run it on 2nd and 10 and nowhere to go. Look to be Tristan Benson with the carry yet again. Was able to just get back to the line of scrimmage, so 3rd and 10 coming up. As the Holliston offense now returns to the line of scrimmage, there's 8 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. As Benko drops back, he gets hit, the ball squirts out. Milford trying to get to it before it goes out of play, but they will say it's an incomplete pass, it looked like was the call. So now a 4th and 10 as Milford was able to hit the Panthers QB, but ruling the forward motion with the arm for Benko, so an incompletion. And now on 4th and 10, we'll see what Holliston elects to do. The lone punt for Holliston in the game. The kick was made by Benko. Right now, Holliston looks like they will go for it. And indeed, Benko looking to throw, and the pass is incomplete. And so Holliston will turn it over on downs for the second time tonight. That throw nowhere close. And so Milford will have a chance to take over on offense from inside the Holliston 30 in what is a very lopsided scoreboard right now, and you can see all smiles on the sideline for the Scarlet Hawks. And while we have a quick moment, we do want to give you an update on the injury to Tyler Joyce. Tyler has returned to the field, but does have his right knee. Right now, covered up. He's on crutches on the sideline, out of pads, with a large brace on the knee. So the result's not good for the senior Tyler Joyce, as he will not return to this game, and possibly not for the remainder of the season. He has been such an asset to this defense, getting involved on the offensive side of the football here tonight. The last running play resulting in that knee injury, so he will not return. Milford with just a 1-yard gain on that first down play as the clock ticks down to 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Ryan Pearl and the war package, as Pearl now will run it himself, sees a hole up the middle. It closes quickly, but flags fly in at the end of the play. And it will be a hold against the Scarlet Hawks. So this will set up a 2nd and 19 after the penalty yardage is assessed.
Holding on Milford, 10-yard penalty, replay, 2nd down. And there's a 2nd down and 19.
This pushes Milford out to the 37. And the handoff goes to Will Pointer. Pointer with the stiff arm.
Will Pointer on the carry.
Able to get Milford to the 36-yard line, so it will be 3rd down and long. They will continue to utilize the war package here. The clock still rolling.
3rd down, 18.
Milford up by 30 points on Holliston. And O'Toole stays on his feet and now finally brought down. They whistle the play dead. They're going to say that O'Toole was down in the backfield. They mark him down all the way back at the 39-yard line. Coach Vizakis with his arms stretched out to his sides in disagreement with the call. So it ends up going as a 3-yard loss for O'Toole, setting up 4th down and 21 yards to go for the offense that right now continues to huddle it up out on the field. As Milford allows the clock to continue to tick down before finally taking the timeout. We'll likely see a punt play coming up, but we'll see it on the other side of this timeout, with Milford on top of Holliston by a score of 36-6 here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. And so back out of the timeout, Milford will elect to punt the football here. And a good kick for Lehane, and it takes an excellent Milford bounce The Scarlet Hawks will down it inside the 10-yard line, so they pin the Panthers back deep. And hearing some of the chatter from the athletic staff here in the last timeout, mentioning that the state record for distance on a field goal attempt here in Massachusetts is 53 yards. That was being discussed during that timeout, as had Milford attempted the field goal, it would have been a 56-yard try. If there's anyone in the state who would be capable of making that kick, you would think it would be Sean Lehane, but Coach Vazakis not electing to take the chance, instead opting for the punt and forcing Holliston into a long field here with 3 minutes and 55 seconds to go in the third quarter.
First and 10, Holliston at their own 8.
The Panthers start this drive from their own 8-yard line. They try a little misdirection on the handoff, but Milford stays with it. And a short gain up the middle, where they are able to get outside of the 10. So it ends up going for 4 yards. They continue to run it on second down, and big gain out close to the 30 for number 32, Dylan Ibbotson. We saw Ibbotson with a couple of carries early in the game, getting involved here late in the third quarter. So more room to work with now for Holliston. A steady diet of running plays on this drive, now out across the 30. This time for Tristan Benson.
Tristan Benson on the carry. On the play. Second down, 7.
More time being taken off the clock. Close to 2.5 minutes to play now in quarter number 3. And right now a new quarterback on the field, and he is greeted rudely as Lucas Rosa gets the takedown of Matt Arvanitis. A sophomore listed at 5'5", 113 pounds, taking over under center with this game right now out of hand.
Loss of 1 on the play, brings up third down and 8.
So perhaps Holliston looking to get some of their other personnel involved in this game. This point in the season, out of the playoffs, the coaches want to continue to allow the players to play who got them to this point, but also you can't help but have an eye on the future, and you want to get some players involved at the end of the season that you know are going to be a factor on the team moving forward. It's a tough balance. You have a senior captain in Ryan Benko, who has achieved so much in his high school career with this team, but right now giving way to the backup. Benko right now returns onto the field on the 4th down and 8 play. Yes, he will in all likelihood punt the football away. He does indeed, as the return is handled by Joey Everett. He's able to get as far as the 43-yard line. So Holliston with nothing doing on that possession. For taking over from their own 43-yard line as O'Toole slices his way up the middle. Stopped just a shade into Holliston territory at the 49-yard line.
9-yard gain on the play. And so 2nd down and 1 for Milford from the Holliston 49.
It's the 2nd possession for Milford in this 3rd quarter. Getting an offensive score and a defensive score so far here in the 3rd. At the 16-yard rushing touchdown from O'Toole in the blink of an eye to open this 3rd quarter. And then the pick 6 for Chris Rivera. And that play proves to be the final one here of this 3rd quarter. Another successful period of play for Milford as they up the lead to 36-6 over Holliston. The route on here in Milford, and the Scarlet Hawks looking to close out a victory here. 11 minutes left to go. We'll have the start of the 4th quarter when we come back next here on coverage of Milford High School athletics on Milford TV. 4th quarter action getting underway here in Milford. Tim Coet on the call for Milford TV. On 2nd down, Milford able to push further inside Holliston territory as they now move from left to right across your television screens.
And that play is good for the Scout Hawks. 1st and 10 Milford from the Holliston 41-yard line.
Milford has scored on all but one of their offensive possessions so far tonight. This has been a statement game for this Scarlet Hawks team, playing with a chip on their shoulder after suffering a disappointing loss last week, a game that the team felt like they played well enough to win. We talked about it earlier in the broadcast, the narrowly missed field goal, the kick return for a touchdown for Ryan O'Toole that was called back on a questionable holding penalty last week in Duxbury. There was also a play at the goal line where Duxbury fumbled. Milford felt they had recovered, but they ultimately ruled that the quarterback was down by contact before the ball came loose. So there were several plays in that game last week that Milford felt could have easily gone differently. And the result would have been a major upset on the number 2 seed, who right now is handling Hingham High School with ease. At halftime, they had a 20-point advantage on Hingham. A Duxbury team that now looks like they are on their way to an appearance in the D3 South Finals.
And that play is good for the Scout Hawks.
And they were certainly battle-tested last week against Milford. No doubt all the better for it. As Milford gets another 1st down. The clock continuing to move, now under 9 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. We do believe Milford's game next week will be on the road, which means the final home game of the season for Milford will come up on November the 23rd on Thanksgiving morning. A carry up the middle for Will Pointer on 1st and 10 from the 25, and he is able to spill across the 20.
Seven-yard gain on the play.
7-yard gain for Pointer.
At the 15-yard line.
Pointer, who is the rushing touchdown leader on the team with 6. But Ryan O'Toole certainly giving him a run for his money. O'Toole, who had just 1 rushing touchdown on the season coming into tonight. You can make it 4 now overall on the season after finding the end zone 3 times so far tonight. And now O'Toole with the carry here and gets tripped up. A touchdown-saving tackle perhaps by Brad Seymour. Able to get to the feet of O'Toole, and that sets up 3rd down and short.
One-yard gain on the play. There's a 3rd down and 2 for Milford from the Holliston 17.
On 3rd and 2, it's more from Ryan Pearl, so not much work tonight for the sophomore Colby Pyers, but when he was out there, he made his presence felt with a 43-yard touchdown pass right at the end of the 1st half. Flags fly in from both sides of the field as Milford tried for the sneak up the middle, but Milford with a false start, so that will push them back to a 3rd down and 7 now.
Third down and 7 for Milford from the Holliston 22.
Milford continuing to manage the clock as this fourth quarter goes on. They'll take this next snap inside of 6 minutes and 50 seconds to play. And on third down, Milford still on the move.
Pointer on the carry.
Will Pointer on the carry. It looks like they'll mark him down just shy of the first.
6-yard gain on the play brings up 4th down and 1.
4th and 1, so Milford right back to the line. And Pearl will try for the quarterback sneak. Does he get enough? And right now the officials calling for the timeout. Holliston saying they got the stop. Milford says they have enough for the first. So timeout on the field now with 6 minutes and 13 seconds left to play. Milford now with their defense out on the field, so they did not get the yard that they needed. And so for just the second time tonight, Milford comes up empty on an offensive possession, this time on the turnover on downs.
Holliston at their own 17.
Looks like now we see Henry Naughton under center for the Panthers, as Holliston continues to progress forward out close to the 25-yard line, close to the first down. They're about a yard shy.
Holliston's carry good for a 9-yard gain. There's a 2nd down and 1 from the 26.
It's been a fast-moving football game to this point. Right now, 8:40 in the evening as we tick down to 5 minutes to play in the fourth. The toss back now for Holliston on 2nd down. And they're able to get enough for the first.
Holliston's rush is good for a 1st down.
So the third quarterback we've seen is the junior Henry Naughton, listed at 5'11", 162 pounds. But not a lot of throwing out of this Panthers offense. The defensive touchdown for Milford in the third quarter really seemed like it broke the will of Holliston in this game tonight. After that, ended up taking their starting quarterback Ryan Benko out of the game. And now with the handoff on 2nd down, and Milford brings him down for a loss. Speaking of losses, Holliston in danger of losing their 4th straight game. Losses to Medfield, Hopkinton, Situate in the playoffs, and now 4 minutes and 18 seconds away from a loss here in Milford. It would be their 5th loss of the season, and can't imagine there have been a whole lot of 5-loss seasons for Holliston in recent memory, as this time the Panthers are able to get the pass away, complete to Jake Armstrong. Milford, meanwhile, looking to break a 2-game skid to get themselves back to within a game of 500 overall on the season, coming into tonight at 3-5.
Pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage.
The pass batted down by Milford on 1st and 10. With just 3 minutes and 38 seconds left now. We mentioned some other Hockomock League teams playing on in the playoffs tonight, and a couple of them facing off head-to-head. In D2 South, the number 1 seed King Philip Warriors facing off against a Kelly Rex foe in the number 4 seed Mansfield. In D3 South, It is the number 1 seed North Attleboro taking on the number 4 seeded Stoughton Black Knights. And then Foxborough also continuing on in the playoffs in D5 South, traveling to Dennis Yarmouth to take on the number 1 seed in that D5 South bracket. We'll see if time permits for us to get any score updates on those games before we run out of time here tonight. Just 2 minutes and 53 seconds left as as Holliston seems content to just allow the remainder of this game to tick down. Right now in a 3rd down and 10. Now Naughton running to the near sideline. And is he able to get the first down? Forced out right around midfield. And indeed they will move the chains. At the end of the 3rd quarter, it was still a very close score between King Philip and Mansfield, just a 2-point differential. King Philip with a 13-11 lead. As now Naughton again races upfield, close to another first down. Second down and 3 coming up as we go under 2 minutes to play. It is not a close score in that other head-to-head Hockomock playoff matchup as North Attleboro has a comfortable 35-6 lead over Stoughton, closing in on the end of the 3rd quarter. Milford still in very good spirits out on the field. But the clock right now stopped at 1 minute and 44 to play. Meanwhile, the game has gone final for Foxborough. They are eliminated from the playoffs, losing to Dennis Yarmouth by a final score of 43-7. So there are the updates for the playoff games happening for other Hockomock League teams here tonight. It's Milford in a non-conference, non-playoff matchup taking on the Tri-Valley League Holliston Panthers, a team with a tremendous pedigree for success in recent seasons, but not a lot of success on the field here in Milford tonight, trailing 36-6 as we quickly tick down to just a minute to play. And it's Naughton in some trouble as he is wrestled down by Neil Arquilano for the sack. And putting an exclamation point on what has been a superb defensive night for this Milford Scarlet Hawks team. The lone blemish, that long touchdown play for Jake Armstrong right at the end of the first half. But other than that, Milford has just absolutely smothered this Panthers offense all night long. A loss of 15 yards on the sack pushes Holliston all the way back to their own 26-yard line. As Naughton releases the throw, it's off target in the direction of Zindolet. And just 25 seconds left on the clock after that incompletion. This game all but in the books. And these Milford fans ready to celebrate. Milford now just 21 seconds away from their second home win of the season. This will put them to 2-3 on the season here at Milford High School. And it'll put them at 4-5 overall on the year. The clock right now down to 14 seconds as Officials relaying information here to the press box, putting 25 seconds back on the game clock as Milford tries to wrestle the back down inbounds. And now 4th down coming up for the Panthers.
14 again to play.
The line of scrimmage now the 40-yard line for the Panthers on 4th down. 4th and 20 for the Panthers. An empty backfield for Holliston on what could very well be their final offensive play of the night. And dropping back to throw and wrestle down quickly. Another sack for the Scarlet Hawks as Matt Arvanitis is taken down. So the sophomore back out on the field for the final plays of the night offensively for Holliston as the final seconds will tick down off the clock. Milford storms out onto the field for the handshake line, and a successful night to say the least for the Scarlet Hawks, facing a terrific opponent in Holliston, but it was all Milford all night long, and it all totals up to a 36-6 lopsided victory for Milford here tonight. A lot of heroes, and chief among them Ryan O'Toole with 3 rushing touchdowns. Colby Pyers in very limited action tonight, tossing a 43-yard touchdown pass to Chappelle Feaster. Chris Rivera with a pick 6 in the game. Any way you slice it, a tremendous night here tonight for the Milford Scarlet Hawks, who win their 4th of the year to improve to 4-5 overall on the season. And with the loss, Holliston drops to 3-5 on the year. Well, that will wrap up our coverage for this evening. A big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand, our director Rob O'Keefe, and our camera operators Mike Sperling and Malcolm Zale. And I am Tim Coet. Your final score, one final time, Milford defeats Holliston by a final score of 36-6. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.